Well, hello. It looks like we're live, guys. Good morning. It's early in the morning, and I have a lot on my mind, and I would like to talk to y'all about it. So, I know it must be early to some of you, depending on oh, where you live. For some of you, it may not be so early, right? And I would like to address this issue while I still can because a lot is happening on a global scale, and I think African diasporans deserve to know what's going on. All right, you guys. So, my apologies if you were in bed and try to get some rest after working the whole week and everything. Trust me, guys know that I'm uh, I'm at home. I'm not going to work these days due to my injuries, so I'm pretty much about to start physical therapy. I'm hoping for the best here that I go back to work as quickly as possible because staying at home, sometimes we want these vacations, but then when you have the opportunity to spend more time at home for whatever reason, you want to go back to work, right? And that's the kind of toxicity that exists here in the West too. So we complain about workloads, but then when we turn around, we start complaining about how much time we need to put in, how much hours we're spending at work. So we're never satisfied. But I can tell you one thing: the world is heading towards a very dangerous path, and I think every African should be awake and be prepared to what is coming. And one of the best way to deal with these issues is to stay more alert and to start taking more responsible actions in order for us to still maintain our status. So I'm only addressing these to Africans in general and more specifically to Africans living in the diaspora. So for those of us that have been living outside of the continent of Africa for an extended period of time, we know the challenges, we know the struggles that we go through living outside our respective countries, and we understand the dynamics. So most of us will rather retire or move back to Africa or go over there to do business, right? Long term, so we don't have to deal with what's going on out here in the West. So we all know the way we are treated here, and most of us don't like the way we are treated. But because we care about our jobs, we care about our businesses, whatever it is that we do here, that brings us some sort of income. We want to do everything it is to secure it, right? But at the same time, in your conscious mind, you don't want to um, go around and just start accepting what anybody is telling you just only because it means to secure your employment, right? One, wouldn't that be great if you don't depend on anyone financially, where you get to make the decisions by yourself? That's the dream for everybody, right? I do understand the concept that everybody is not built to be a businessman or a businesswoman. We cannot all run businesses. Then we won't have nobody to work for us. There are people who are born to be leaders. There are people who are born to just be followers, all right? And that's okay. But whatever it is that you are, it is very crucial. It's more um, important to start working on it earlier rather than waiting longer. Then you probably will end up just like most people, especially here, people working here in the West. We know the way the system is built. We are heading towards um, situations where retiring might not be possible, especially for our generation, right? So if you want to retire early, I would suggest that you start working on that like now. I don't know how old my audience is, because my audience, basically when I look at my YouTube analytics, I have the all categories are there from 18-year-old all the way up to like 60s or whatever, right? But understand whatever it is that you're trying to do. Running business, it's not a gift for everybody. But at least acquiring land, building properties, anybody can do it, right? Because if you own multiple properties, that's like the easiest business, one of the easiest, I should say, to run. Because if you just have properties and then you have people who do maintenance or, plumbers and things like that, something breaks down, they go out there to take care of it, you pay them, you just wait for a paycheck at the end of the month. You don't even have to show up every day. You don't even have to do anything per se. As long as your team is keeping you updated on the status of the house, how the house is maintained, that's all you practically need, right? So, and that makes it one of the easiest one to run. Therefore, wealthy people, they will give you an advice where if you are looking to do a business and you're not sure what you want to do with your money, invest that in real estate while you figure out what exactly it is that you want to do. And there is for a really great reason. Number one, because property taxes only increase, and there's always benefits when it comes down to it. So that's why real wealth, it is hidden behind owning real estate properties. Therefore, someone like me, in addition to owning the lands to farm in, I'm accumulating these residential properties because I want to build apartments moving forward to start making some to have some sort of residual and permanent income moving forward. Guys, whatever we are doing, right? Look at what's happening around the world. I'm not going to get into who's right, who's wrong. Is NATO an aggressor? Is NATO a peacekeeper? Whatever it is that you believe in. We can have our differences. We don't have to agree on what's happening on a global scale. But it is very, very important that we pay attention to what is happening because it is affecting us directly. The people who are pulling the strings behind closed doors, they're not directly affected at all. These people are on their way to become even trillionaires, right? They don't care about whether you and I die or not due to the actions that they are taking. How many lives have been lost in many different parts of the world, starting in Africa, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. How many people have died so far since this mineral wars have started in like 1994? How many of us have to die in order for them to understand that the world, like, this is why I always say our problems as Africans can only be solved within Africans. And nobody else is going to come in and save us. What's happening in Africa? People are dying every day in Sudan, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and many other countries out there. Nobody has ever raised their voice, talked about it. But the moment the war in Ukraine started, everybody went crazy. And what's happening in Palestine, between Palestine and Israel, the world is losing sleep over that. When was the last time you saw the world come together to mobilize about what's taking place in Africa? This is what tells you that African problems can only be solved within Africans. Someone like me who believe in investing in the motherland and actually taking every precaution so that you can move back permanently to have that peace of mind, it's very, very necessary. And if you believe in that too, do me a favor, hit the like button and subscribe if you have not already. And we could build a community that's it revolves around helping each other as Africans, especially living in the diaspora. And also educate some of our brothers and sisters that are still in the continent, but who are willing to move here in the West. things at this moment are not really safe. Let's just skip that. Let's just put it out there. We are talking about like the southern borders here in the United States, like being widely open to Republicans and Democrats going back and forth, like what's the priority to the American people and so forth. All right, you hear what they talking about, how they talk about immigrants who are trying to come here, but they're not talk like they think it's invading their country, but they're not talking about the real cause of mass illegal immigration. They're not addressing those issues because that issue didn't just appear out of thin air. It came from somewhere. Actions were taken in the past that caused this issue. Is a cause and effects kind of situation, right? So you do something and you have to face the consequences. Until you deal with the source of the problem, you will always have to deal with the consequences. So they have to be more honest about themselves rather than making it seem like to the world like we are running away from our countries because we don't have anything there. But they're not mentioning the facts that they are continuing to meddle in our political affairs, right? Thus causing some of us to leave because a lot of Africans are leaving the continent not because they want to leave, not because they don't love their family, but they want to leave their family behind to go to a more prosperous society so that they can provide for their families, for their friends, for their, children, right? But if they have those same opportunities in their country where their governments were more free to do whatever that needed to be done to assist their youth or their population, these people would never have left to go to another countries in the first place, unless they were fleeing persecution. But it wouldn't be no persecution if the world was peaceful, right? But there are some other societies who think that they're the savior. They have the power to solve global problems, but at the same time, they're causing the same problems that are victimizing almost the entire population of the world, but somehow they're the victims. And if you get what I'm saying, you probably have an idea who I'm talking about here. But I don't want to focus on another group, but I'm focusing more on Africans and Africans living in the diaspora. So what should we do? What can we do? Are we still welcomed here? We've never been welcomed here, trust me. But because it's the government programs that exist, you have no choice but to accept it. Until you abolish these programs, you will never see Africans here. Remember, there was a time where America passed a law to ban Chinese from coming into America, and that was a real thing. Why? Because they thought Chinese flooded in the United States, and then they were competing with um, Americans who have returned from, many wars, and the Chinese were willing to work for less money, and employers felt like, okay, we are making like enormous profits by hiring these Chinese who are willing to work for less. Why would we hire Americans? Because business people don't give a flying damn, right? About whether how you feel about anything. If they see an opportunity to make more money, they will take it. And Congress had passed a law to ban Chinese from coming into America. The same Congress have the ability and the power to pass the law to ban Africans or any other group from coming here. So before that becomes an issue, before that even happens, if you are already here or it's time for you to start working on your way back to the motherland. Or if you are already in the motherland and planning on moving here, maybe it is time for you to start reconsidering your decisions and the actions that you are willing to take. Because at the end of the day, um, you could use the money that you are saving to relocate to another society, to better your family, to build within you the continent. You will always also have we should not always be optimistic about things, right? There are also times where we need to be pessimistic and actually be more realistic about yourself. I'll tell you a quick story about a friend of mine that I went to high school with, who's married, has got 3 kids now. This dude always wanted to move to either Europe or Northern America, whatever. And since I left Congo, it's been 13 years so far, right? Going to 14 now. And this dude always talk about moving. And I'm telling you, he spends so much money, and every door, every visa he had applied for was never granted to him. He's trying to get his family to move to the West because he believes that the only way out or to make money is to move to the West. But this is a guy whose father was one of the biggest executives in one of the bigger brewery company. I'm talking about Bra Congo, right? And he hooked him out with a job. It's like I think like either a manager or an assistant manager in one of the districts in Kinshasa out there. And every time I visit Kinshasa, I always go over his crib. I spend some time with him, his wife, because his wife and I, we went to the same high school. So his wife is also a high school friend. We all know each other from back in the day, right? So they just were dating when we were in high school. Now they're together. He has all of these tools. I talk to him, I'm like, dude, start a business, get your wife to go to work. Have a business to wake up every morning to while you're making this money. Because you keep trying to save up this money to move to the West and think about how much money you've spent so far. If you have invested that money into starting a business, you know how far you would have gotten? Maybe it was not meant to be for you. Because coming here doesn't necessarily guarantee that you're going to make it. Because we have people who have been here for over 20 years and they're still struggling. We have people who cannot even afford a flying ticket back to the motherland because of the situations they found themselves in, whether they way deep and they like so in depth that they can't get out of that situation, and they just have to live day by day, paycheck to paycheck. It's like every single paycheck, their paycheck is garnished because they have all of these debts that they owe the government, whether it is student loan debt and all that good stuff. Going to college is a great thing, right? But it's a business here. Lay nobody fool you when it comes down to that, right? You getting an education, you want to, post your diploma in the wall as soon as somebody walk in and says that, oh, you got an MIT diploma, you got this, this, and that. That's cool, but that's not going to feed you. You have to be more realistic. Let me tell you something. When I was finally considering going back to college here in the United States, and I eventually did, but I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do. But I knew one thing, I wanted to get a job that pays 6-figure salary. And I'm looking at my major, I'm like, I don't think my major will help me get there. I need to do something that will pay me more money because I want to be able to save up quickly so I can build and do things in the motherland. But what can I do? It took me a little bit. For the record, I'm a criminal justice major, right? But I knew with that criminal justice degree, I was never going to be making that kind of money. But I wanted a 6-figure salary. And eventually, I embraced law enforcement, where is actually helping me do just that. I'm making that money now, but it only took me almost together, like, I'll say 8 months at the police academy. I'm making way more money than people with 4-year college degree. You know how I know? Because I have friends who have bachelor's degrees, right? Who have master's degrees even, but they're not making anywhere near what I'm making. My associate degree is like 9 more credits and I have my associate degree. It doesn't bother me whether I don't have it yet, I know eventually I will get it. 3 credits, I can take 1 semester and I have my associate. And I say, after I get that, I will never ever seek to. Well, we always educating ourselves, reading books, anyways, and doing all these extra things. But I found my career path, and I love it. I enjoy it. I'm using it to build back at home. So if you don't have that yet, it's okay. We can't follow one another. You chose your path, make peace with it. But stop thinking that until you start making more money, that's when you'll be able to accomplish things in the motherland. You're wrong. You're never going to be able to do any of that. But what you could do though is becoming more financially disciplined. Learn knowing where your money can be put at. It's really hard to save money. I find it very difficult to save money. Shit, the things that I'm building in Kinshasa now, my apartments that I talked to you about, it's almost complete. And when I'm looking at the estimates that I got in all of the Western Union transactions, I'm like, damn, I'm approaching 8 grand. How did I come up with this? But I guarantee you, if I was saving that money into an account somewhere, I wouldn't even be able to see that. Like ever. But I was able to see that because I have something that's motivating me to continue to spend money on. And that it is a great investment. The value of it will always continue to increase. So you as an African living in a diaspora, what are you doing? How much long you think you can wait before you start investing in the motherland? With everything that is happening around the world now, and you think you still appreciate it, you think you want to move here from Africa and be appreciated, and they welcome you with warm, giving you a warm welcome, you're wrong. It's time for us to start to take it seriously and look back and see the opportunities that we have in the motherland. Me specifically in the Congo, listen, I watch videos on Nigeria's, Ghana, South Africa, many other African countries, Kenya and all that. Even the housing market, we are way far behind. To all of my Congolese brothers and sisters, what are y'all doing with your money? I have friends, family, a lot of people who are looking for places to stay. The market is there, but nobody is building. No one is building. People walking around with their money, with the security deposit, but they aren't reliable homes. So now people have higher standards. They just don't want to rent a place somewhere and not having all of this, features in it. But we know how we live here. You know what kind of house you want to build. When you build something like that, people feel more comfortable living in there. And whatever you're going to charge them, they're going to pay you. Get out of that mindset thinking that, oh, nobody ain't got money over there. They're going to pay me. Bullshit. You know how many people or even friends I have back home that are living in apartments? They paying almost close to what we're paying here in America. Go to like area in like Willery near downtown and see what rent really costs over there. Even in Kinkole now, depending on how much money you spend to build your house, the features that it has, people will pay you for that. I'll tell you one thing. One of my big homies here in my community here in Pennsylvania, his sister-in-law bought a house on the same streets as him back home. She built it, completed the constructions, right? It's a 3 bedroom house. All the features is there. When I visited last year, I got a chance to see the house. It was almost complete. Now it's already complete. It's a duplex and everything. You know how much money she's charging? $650 for it. This is in Kinkole, and I'm not talking about No, it's not even anywhere near Boulevard Lumumba, because we know how Boulevard Lumumba be popping, right? Because my parents own a house on Boulevard Lumumba near Caltain. That's where I grew up. It's far deep towards, I can call it Plaza over there. Those of you from Congo, you may know what I'm talking about. Far deep in there, and they're already paying that. Where I own my properties, they're like literally, you could, when you're standing on my house, you see Lumumba Boulevard is like right there. If I build the same kind of house that she builds, I could be charging close to 900 bucks just because of the location. Now think about if you have two, three, or even four of those. Would I'm talking about US dollars. Would you still want to continue waking up every morning, working two, three jobs here, when you know every month you got over 3,000 going into your bank account? And you and I know damn well that's a hell of a lot more money if you don't want to live an extravagant lifestyle in Congo. With that, you are well off. And all you got to do is just find an activity that provides you food every day, right? That's it. You're rocking big time. But I don't understand why people can't see past this. All right, there you have it, guys. I'm sorry to bother y'all. I know it's early in the morning, but I woke up with this on my mind, and I figured that I will address it. I would appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, give me your opinion about what we just discussed. And thank you guys so much for always tuning in to watch my live streams and my videos. Until the next one, I'll see you guys soon. Happy Saturday. Have a fantastic weekend. Peace.